Let's recap the previous part. The polarization of each entity is necessary for graduation from the third density. The polarity is the characteristic of the first veiling experiment and improvements by series of logoi, granting the free will of the creator to mind-body-spirit complexes. Before these experiments, the third density mind-body spirits were in Edenic conditions of constant contentment, repeating the third density cycles many times over. Let's shortly describe bodies of the third density entity, or co-creator, we so carelessly call a person. A mind-body-spirit complex is a microcosm of the macrocosmic infinite one. We have the number 7 repeated from the macrocosm to the microcosm in structure and experience. Therefore, a mind-body-spirit complex has 7 basic bodies. The red ray body is your chemical body. However, it is not the body which you have as clothing in the physical. It is the unconstructed material of the body, the elemental body without form. This basic unformed material body is important to understand, for there are healings which may be carried out by the simple understanding of the elements present in the physical vehicle. The orange ray body is the physical body complex. This body complex is still not the body you inhabit, but rather the body formed without self-awareness, the body in the womb before the spirit-mind complex enters. This body may live without the inhabitation of the mind and spirit complexes. However, it seldom does so. The yellow ray body is your physical vehicle which you know of at this time and in which you experience catalyst. This body has the mind-body-spirit characteristics and is equal to the physical illusion, as we have called it. The green ray body is that body which may be seen in seance when what you may call ectoplasm is furnished. This is a lighter body, packed more densely with life. Some other teachings may call this the astral body. Others have called this same body the etheric body. However, this is not correct in the sense that the etheric body is that body of gateway where an intelligent energy is able to mold the mind-body-spirit complex. The light body or blue ray body may be called the devachanic body. There are many other names for this body, especially in Indian sutras or writings, for there are those among these peoples which have explored these regions and understand the various types of devachanic bodies. There are many, many types of bodies in each density, much like our own. The indigo ray body is called the etheric body or the gateway body. In this body, form is substance, and you may only see this body as that of light as it may mold itself as it desires. The violet ray body may perhaps be understood as what we might call the Buddhic body or that body which is complete. Each of these bodies has an effect upon your mind-body-spirit complex in your life beingness. The interrelationships are many and complex. The indigo ray body may be used by the healer once the healer becomes able to place its consciousness in this etheric state. The violet ray or Buddhic body is of equal efficacy to the healer, for within it lies a sense of wholeness, which is extremely close to unity with all that there is. These bodies are part of each entity, and the proper use of them and understanding of them is, though far advanced from the standpoint of third density harvest, nevertheless useful to the adept. Immediately after physical death from this yellow ray body, we have all bodies in potentiation. The first body which activates itself upon death is the form maker or the indigo ray body. The normal procedure, given in harmonious passage from yellow ray bodily manifestation, is for the mind and spirit complex to rest in the etheric or indigo body until such time as the entity begins its preparation for experience in an incarnated place, which has a manifestation formed by the etheric energy molding it into activation and manifestation. This indigo body, being intelligent energy, is able to offer the newly dead soul, as we would term it, a perspective and a place from which to view the experience most recently manifested. The faculty of the will becomes a stimulus of what we call an earthbound spirit or a lingering ghost. If the will of yellow ray mind-body-spirit is that which is stronger than the progressive impetus of the physical death towards realization of that which comes, that is, If the will is concentrated enough upon the previous experience, the entity's shell of yellow ray, though no longer activated, cannot either be completely deactivated and, until the will is released, the mind-body-spirit complex is caught. This often occurs, as you are aware, in the case of sudden death, as well as in the case of extreme concern for a thing or another self. The orange ray activation occurs quite infrequently due to the fact that this particular manifestation is without will. Occasionally, another self will so demand, the form of the one passing through the physical death, that some semblance of the being will remain. This is orange ray. This is rare, for normally if one entity desires another enough to call it, the entity will have the corresponding desire to be called. Thus the manifestation would be the shell of yellow ray. The green ray body activates only if the proper body to be activated is green ray, after etheria has been penetrated and understanding has been gained by the mind-body-spirit totality, while the entity remains in the indigo ray body. In your present incarnation, the yellow ray body is in activation, it being that body which is manifest. The yellow ray body goes through the aging process, which is a function of the effects of various electromagnetic fields upon the electromagnetic fields of the mind-body-spirit complex, that leads to the removal from the incarnation of the entity. By the end of the second cycle, the law of responsibility had begun to be effectuated by the increasing ability of entities to grasp those lessons which there are to be learned in this density. Thus, entities had discovered many ways to indicate a bellicose nature, not only as tribes or what we call nations, but in personal relationships, each with the other. In many cases, the concept of barter having given way to the concept of money. Also, the concept of ownership having won ascendancy over the concept of non-ownership on an individual or group basis. Each entity then was offered many more subtle ways of demonstrating either service towards others or service to self, with the distortion of the manipulation of others. As each lesson was understood, those lessons of sharing, of giving, of receiving in free gratitude, each lesson could be rejected in practice. Without demonstrating the fruits of such learning and teaching, the lifespan became greatly reduced, for the ways of honor duty were not being accepted. The shortening of the lifespan is a distortion of the law of one, which suggests that an entity not receive more experience in more intensity than it may bear. This is only an effect upon an individual level and does not hold sway over planetary or social complexes. Thus, the shortened lifespan is due to the necessity for removing an entity from the intensity of experience which ensues when wisdom and love are, having been rejected, reflected back into the consciousness of the Creator without being accepted as part of the self, this then causing the entity to have the need for healing and for much evaluation of the incarnation. Given appropriate circumstances, a much longer incarnation in space-time continuum is very helpful for continuing this intensive work until conclusions have been reached through the catalytic process. Those entities who have, in some way, taught themselves the appropriate distortions for rapid growth can now work within the confines of the shorter lifespan. However, the greater preponderance of peoples find themselves in what may be considered a perpetual childhood. Upon our third density planet, rapid aging occurs due to an ongoing imbalance of the receptor web complex in the etheric portion of the energy field of the planet. Love, creating light, becoming love light, streams into the planetary sphere according to the electromagnetic web of points of entrance. The thought-form distortions of our peoples have caused the energy streamings to enter the planetary web of energy patterns in such a way that the proper streamings are not correctly imbued with balanced vibratory light love. There is one energy. It may be understood as love light or light love or intelligent energy. These streamings are then available to the individual who, like the planet, is a web of electromagnetic energy fields with points of entrance. The energy streams into a mind-body-spirit complex and begins its filtering process through the energy centers. If there is no blockage, these energies pour or stream down into the mind-body-spirit complex, perfecting the individual's body complex moment by moment. There is some distortion of intelligent energy caused by the blockages of our planetary sphere. The understanding comes slowly. The blockages of the mind-body-spirit complex further distort or unbalance this energy, thus the body complex decomposing more rapidly. In a balanced individual, each energy center is balanced and functioning brightly and fully. Thus, a perfectly balanced entity would become tired rather than visibly aged. The lessons being learned, the entity would depart. However, this is appropriate and is a form of aging which our peoples do not experience. To become balanced, an entity needs an understanding of the energy centers which make up the mind-body-spirit complex. This understanding may be briefly summarized as follows. The first balancing is of the Earth, or Malkuth, vibratory energy complex called the red ray complex. An understanding and acceptance of this energy is fundamental. The next energy complex which may be blocked is the emotional or personal complex, also known as the orange ray complex. This blockage will often demonstrate itself as personal eccentricities or distortions with regard to self-conscious understanding or acceptance of self. The third blockage resembles most closely that which we have called ego. It is the yellow ray or solar plexus center. Blockages in this center will often manifest as distortions towards power, manipulation, and other social behaviors concerning those close and those associated with the mind-body-spirit complex. Those with blockages in these first three energy centers will have continuing difficulties in ability to further their seeking of the law of one. The center of heart, or green ray, is the center from which third-density beings may springboard, shall we say, towards infinite intelligence. Blockages in this area may manifest as difficulties in expressing what we may call universal love or compassion. The blue ray center of energy streaming is the center which, for the first time, is outgoing as well as inpouring. Those blocked in this area may have difficulty in grasping the spirit-mind complexes of its own entity and further difficulty in expressing such understandings of self. Entities blocked in this area may have difficulties in accepting communication from other mind-body-spirit complexes. The next center is the pineal or indigo ray center. Those blocked in this center may experience a lessening of the influx of intelligent energy due to manifestations which appear as unworthiness. As you can see, this is but one of many distortions due to the several points of energy influx into the mind-body-spirit complex. The indigo ray balancing is quite central to the type of work which revolves about the spirit complex, which has its influx then into the transformation or transmutation of third density to fourth density, it being the energy center receiving the least distorted outpourings of love light from intelligent energy, and having also the potential for the key to the gateway of intelligent infinity. The remaining center of energy influx is simply the total expression of the entity's vibratory complex of mind, body, and spirit. It is as it will be. Balanced or imbalanced has no meaning at this energy level, for it gives and takes in its own balance. Whatever the distortion may be, it cannot be manipulated as can the others, and therefore has no particular importance in viewing the balancing of an entity. If you observe those oriented toward service to others, from near the beginning and through a lifetime experience, you will observe a relatively youthful, as we would call it, appearance.